So I'm on the road again this early in the morning. This is an argument that I've heard, and it's over and over again, and it's ridiculous. It's a theological argument. I've heard it from atheists, fundamentalists, and King James onlyists. King James onlyists say, well, you know, if God, if Christianity, if all this stuff was real, then wouldn't God have a perfect book that's infallible that you can always point to? Not according to Christianity, no. There's nothing in there. Mormons make this case. So, well, you know, wouldn't God, if he had a church, if he had set up a church, wouldn't it have the name Jesus Christ in the title? Ridiculous. But even that's less ridiculous than people talk about free will in God, or entropy, or these things, and they come up with things like the problem of evil. All right. Well, if evil exists, then how could God? If God's all good, from who? What's good? Whose perspective? I mean, they're bringing, for belief in a God, they're bringing a theological argument into it. Like, here's the thing. People who, I mean, you either think that you'd have to think that most people are lying. Either all atheists are lying about their belief in God, or about their lack of belief in God, or all theists are lying about their belief in a God. Because hasn't there been a myriad amount of people, not currently and in the past, that have believed in a God that they didn't think was 100% right, or that view of the world they thought was terrifying to them? Look at Marcion, look at Manny, look at many of the Gnostics. They thought the creator God was evil, and that he had to be escaped. There's many even Jewish rabbis today that say that they say, well, no, God is selfish and jealous. I mean, if you read the guy who wrote, I can't remember his name right now, but the guy who wrote Why Do Bad Things Happen to Good People? I mean, he has problems with God. The early church fathers, they did. But this idea of you're making a theological judgment, if God would exist, he wouldn't do it this way. That's ridiculous. Though the Bible has to be interpreted literally, because that's how God meant it. Even though there's two creation narratives in there, and we're told in the New Testament not to listen to that part. Or why don't Christians follow the Levitical laws? They have to. Well, no, Paul says that we don't. So did Christ. So did James. Ridiculous. But there's all these things come up, and they're theological arguments, or they're really subjective. Good. Well, then God wouldn't be good. And I've always wondered at that, even when I was antagonistic, anti-theistic. I even thought, like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, because, I mean, if you believe in the God that you're just comfortable with, are you actually believing in a God? Like, that's kind of weird. And I guess that's still belief, but there's different types of belief, and for different reasons. But yeah, oddness. Good, bad. Well, if he would do it this way, well, how do you know? That's the thing that always gets me. Oh, there's a problem with free will, or this doesn't, I can't understand God. Well, you're not supposed to. It's supposed to be beyond comprehension.